So Kamaru Usman is scheduled to fight Joaquin Buckley on a UFC Fight Night card, and with the run Buckley's on, it's going to be a pretty tough fight for Kamaru, especially knowing that he's primarily a wrestler. And the toughest matchup you can give to a wrestler is a stocky power puncher with a low center of gravity, because not only does that allow him to defend takedowns, but make his opponents pay when they can't complete them. Will Kamaru be able to get the dub? Let's get to the bottom of that. And before I continue, I ask that you like and subscribe if you support black on black violence. When you look at Buckley's last four fights, you have to admit that some of these matchups were favorable. Kobe was slightly out of his prime. Ruziboyev was fighting out of his weight class and happens to be a very one-dimensional striker. Wonderboy was over the age of 40. Vicente Luque was actually a pretty solid win. And even if it wasn't, it doesn't really mean anything because the lightweight GOAT himself got a title shot after beating Bobby Green, yet he still dominated Charles Oliveira. So the same might happen when Buckley faces Kamaru. There are a lot of misconceptions MMA fans have about Buckley's striking. They assume that just because he's a big, black, cotton picking, Kool Aid drinking man, his goal is just to get in the pocket, throw haymakers, and hopefully one of them is going to land. That is an insult to his skill set. Buckley is not Michael Chandler. Unless you haven't watched his fight against Kobe Covington, you're not going to pick up on how dynamic he actually is. Firstly, he has a very good jab, and you wouldn't expect a man of his stature to throw it that often. Yet I've seen him throw single jabs, double jabs, he even went as far as triple jabs that were rocking Kobe's head back. And knowing that it's one of the most used weapons, it really helps when you have a good one. Secondly, is his combos. Now, I'd never compare him to fighters like Jack Della Maddalena or Ilia Topuria because they throw 3 to 5 punch combos with ease, using mostly technique, timing, and precision as opposed to explosiveness. Buckley capitalizes on the timidity of his opponents. When he blitzes in, instead of countering, they'd much rather just lean back with a high guard to avoid eating any bombs. Nonetheless, I still do think he has very good combos. Some of my favorites was the cross, uppercut, lead hook cross he landed in round 3. He can also mix it up with kicks like the inside leg kick 1-2 he landed in round 1. He also mixes it up to the body and head, and he landed that on Kobe on multiple occasions. And no matter what, Kobe had no answer for it. Buckley also has some pretty underrated kicks, man. I mean, two of his finishes against Impa Kasanganay and Andre Fialho would be a spinning back kick and roundhouse, respectively. He landed his roundhouse on Kobe a few times, and most of them were blocked, but it's still a weapon Kamaru has to prepare for, and I'm sure he will with that PTSD. Now, his defense is very simplistic yet effective. Firstly, there's the blocking. You see, Buckley is built like a ninja turtle, so when he shells up, like Dricus and Perion, it covers his whole torso. Izzy cannot use this type of defense because he's got skinny arms and a long torso. He'd much rather rely on footwork. Whereas with Buckley, he just shells up and tries to get in the pocket, and it works very well for him. There isn't really much to his footwork because he literally just steps back. And keep in mind, if you block or use head movement, you're still within range of getting hit. So you might still absorb some strikes. Whereas if you step back, you either roll with the punches or take no damage at all. So in as much as it's not the most prettiest technique, it still is very effective, and Buckley has mastered that with his explosiveness. Thirdly is his variation of the peekaboo style, which I like to call Black Air Force One energy. He lifts his hands up, bobs and weaves till he can get in the pocket to land a big meaty hook, as Lucas Tracy likes to say. It's the same move he used to knock out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and that's going to be a major problem for Kamaru. There isn't really much Kamaru has for Buckley on the feet aside from a 1-2. If you remember correctly, in his fight against Kobe Covington, it was literally Kobe's volume against Kamaru's 1-2. Kamaru had better shot selection, and that's what won him the fight. Now, do you think Buckley won't be able to work his way around a 1-2? No, he probably will. So Kamaru's best bet is to wrestle. Now, the question is, are they holes in Buckley's wrestling? Fortunately, we have the answer to that question because Buckley has faced a wrestler in Kobe Covington. Now, people have a lot of bad stuff to say about Kobe, but in his prime, he was very good. He out wrestled Tyrone Woodley, Jorge Masvidal, Robbie Lawler, and a lot of these guys were in the back end of their careers. But he was still able to showcase his wrestling and really give us an idea of how capable he is. And he is capable. There's a reason Kamaru wasn't too adamant on wrestling him, and we saw a kickboxing match. Against Buckley, Kobe didn't have that much success. Buckley was stuffing most of the takedowns. In round 2, Kobe eventually took him down with a double leg, then got into side control, but then Buckley escaped without taking any damage. In round 3, Buckley stuffed the takedown so well that he was able to get into half guard. Then, when he tried to get into full mount, Kobe escaped. And to have a man that big on top of you yet still manage to escape is very impressive and shows that, in as much as Kobe's in the back end of his career, he still got it. The only time he was able to really pop off on Buckley was when he got into full guard and managed to land some ground and pound, but it didn't do that much damage aside from maybe one or two elbows. And Buckley proved that he has some offensive wrestling capabilities. There was some point where he landed some ground and pound as well as out scrambled Kobe Covington, which is very impressive. Even against Wonderboy, you could tell that he was always able to take him down, but he just couldn't keep him there. Oftentimes, he would take him down, then immediately Wonderboy would get back up, and then Buckley would land some clinch knees maybe, and then they would break free. But the simple fact that he wasn't able to keep Wonderboy down for 3 rounds means he probably won't be able to offensively wrestle someone like Kamaru Usman. And part of why he had a lot of success against Kobe was fatigued from all the failed takedown attempts and the cumulative damage. But that was still impressive from Buckley, though. But I think his best bet is to keep things on the feet and stuff the takedowns of Kamaru, which I think he's going to do extremely well. Keep in mind, Kamaru has bad knees. He's nearly 40 at this point in his career. So it's obvious that even looking at his record, he's in the back end of his career. And could he win the fight? Absolutely. But I just don't think he will. You guys let me know what you think in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.